Hello and welcome. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video. My name is Samantha Garrett. I'm a product specialist here from Pegasus Software. Over the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to take you through a short demonstration of the new Stocktake utility available within Opera 3 Stock Control. Stocktake allows us to extract our Opera 3 stock, split it up into worksheets and then physically go off, count the stock and then automatically post the adjustments back into Opera 3. So why is Stocktake important? We all know that counting stock is essential to make sure that our stock levels are accurate. And accurate stock levels means that we can confidently accept sales orders and can raise purchase orders only when additional stock is needed. The new Stocktake utility is optional. Mine has already been activated within my company profiles. The first thing we need to do is go in and create what we call Stocktake profiles. We can create as many of these Stocktake profiles as we want to group together stock items to define how they're going to be processed when we use the Stocktake utility. So we can define how often the items are to be counted, how many times we want the items to be counted, if indeed we do not want the items to be counted at all, and we can also specify a tolerance percentage. So I've set up a few different levels of Stocktake profiles here. I've got a category of A for stock items to be counted monthly, so 30 days. I've got a B classification for stock items due to be counted quarterly, and I've also got a C classification for stock items to be counted annually, so 365 days, and I've also got a profile of D for items that I do not wish to be counted at all. Once we've created our Stocktake profiles, the next thing we need to do is actually assign these to our stock items. Now we can do this on two different levels. The first place we can assign Stocktake profiles is against the stock profiles themselves. So for this particular stock profile, I could come in and say I would like Stocktake profile of A to be allocated for all stock items linked to this profile. The second place we can assign Stocktake profiles is against the individual items warehouse themselves. So per item, per warehouse. And you can see here that I could pick and choose whichever Stocktake profile I wish the items within this particular warehouse to be processed when we use the Stocktake utility. Okay, let's go through and create a Stocktake. So we'll load up the Stocktake form. We'll create a new Stocktake. I can choose which company I want to create this Stocktake for, and I'll give it a description. So I'll say this is my half-yearly Stocktake. Assign operatives. Well, I'm actually going to assign specific people to go out and count the stock, so I'm going to make this mandatory. The next thing we need to do is actually select the stock items. So we've got a range of different criteria here. We can specify, we can filter by warehouse, we can filter by category, by stock reference, and we can also filter by status. So is it for due items only, or perhaps for due and undue items? I'm going to pick just the car mats in this particular example, and we'll create a Stocktake. Now what I want to do is actually go through and create some worksheets. So I'm going to create two worksheets. The first one I'm going to give to Steve, and the second one I'm going to give to Sam. The next thing I want to do is go through and print off the sheets. So I'll go through, I'll print off Steve's worksheet first. There we go, we'll send it through to screen. So there's Steve's worksheet ready for him to go off. He can go off around the warehouse and start to count his stock. And I could do the same for Sam's. Now what we're looking at here, we can see the figures that Opera 3 is expecting. And when we've also entered what Steve and Sam have found, we will see them being entered into the counted column. So let's say that Steve's gone off around the warehouse, he's come back, we want to enter his quantities. So let's say that Steve didn't actually go off and count the small car mats. We're expecting 401, but I'll say Steve just guessed that he's got about 500. He did actually go off and count the medium car mats and he found 268. And we'll say that he didn't bother to go through and count the large car mats. So if we go back and have a look at what we've just entered for Steve, we'll notice that the small car mats is out of range because we've specified a 10% tolerance against any items linked to that Stocktake profile. So we're going to have to go through and resolve that. Let's go through and enter Sam's quantities. So we'll say that Sam did actually go through and count them, and she counted, let's say, 412 of the small car mat, so still more than Opera's expecting. The medium car mat she found 268, and again she couldn't be bothered to go through and count the large car mats. So if we look back at Sam's, we'll see that the top item there, the small car mats, that status is ready, so within the tolerance that we've specified against that Stocktake profile. What we can see from these statuses, you'll get various statuses throughout the Stocktake. If we just call up the help system, it will give you a definition and tell you what the various statuses mean. So it's very useful to use the help system. Okay, so let's go through and resolve this because we know that Steve and Sam found different quantities. So we can see the small car mats, we were expecting 401. Steve did the first count, he found 500. Sam did the second count and she found 412. So we can see that we've got a discrepancy there. So let's go through and resolve this. And we'll say, we'll actually accept Sam's quantity because we trust her. We know that she's gone out and done the count accurately. It could be that I want to go through and create an additional worksheet perhaps to go out and do a third count, but I'm just going to accept Sam's 412. We can see that the status has now changed to resolve, and this is now ready to be posted back to Opera 3. So let's update Opera 3. We can see that the status has now changed to Opera 3 updated with the quantities. And if we go back into stock processing, we can see that the in-stock figure for the small car mat has changed to 412. And if we drill down into the warehouse, we can see the adjustment has been posted with a reference of Stocktake. So we can see the adjustment that's been posted back. What we could do, let's go back to the Stocktake. We know that we didn't complete the Stocktake because we didn't go through and count the large car mats. So I might want to close this Stocktake off, and then I could go through and delete it as well. Stocktake also caters for serial and batched stock items, and as you can see here, the Stocktake utility helps us to maintain accurate stock levels, which means that we can confidently accept